Today we have a Tecumseh. It is one of those Toro self-propelled units. It definitely has its problems, but one of the problems it has is when you press the primer bulb, it will start, but it will quickly die. I don't want to say that's a common problem for Tecumsehs. It's a common problem for all of them. And it still has this, that's good. But happens often to these. Let's take a look at a couple things here. New-ish filter. It's okay. Probably still replace it though. So here's the thing. Usually, if you can get a fairly decent size, I don't know, burp, whatever you want to call it, out of these things, it means that the jet is probably just a little bit clogged. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to clamp off the fuel line. The fuel line is actually pretty soft. So I don't think this is a horribly maintained engine. I think it just sat over for too long of a period. We put gas in there because it looks very good, at least from the top view. We'll take a look at the bowl. I think they just have a mildly plugged jet. So let's take a look here. Let's get a towel first. There's a lot of noise in the background. My neighbor is working on his truck. Naturally, it's a diesel. The quietest of all trucks. No, I thought I'd turn that up. Just a little bit of this fuel. Well, it's pretty clear. I mean, the cup wasn't exactly clean. So the bowl did not come off. Not too concerned or shocked about that. The jet could stand to be cleaned, so let's try this. Looks pretty good now. With Tecumsehs, you have to be careful. I don't know if you can see this, but there's a tiny little hole right there. You need to clean out that tiny little hole. If you don't, it will not run right. I do believe that is part of the idle, if I remember. And you would assume that you wouldn't have to, considering it's an idle, and how often do you idle a lawnmower with no throttle? But the problem is the idle part of it does feed fuel. So if that part's plugged, the grand total is not going to be enough, and your engine will run lean. Lean will cause surging, maybe not running at all. It's obviously too lean. So you don't want that to happen, obviously. My main point. Let's just see if it starts to overflow. I would assume not, but while that's happening, this one also has a different idle jet, or idle plug, I guess would be the best way to describe it. There's this little black right here. I just take a pick and I try to take it out. It's been in there for a while. It's not going to want to cooperate, obviously, like this one doesn't. You take a pair of pliers. See if we can't get that out there. So I was watching some YouTube channels, and it seems like a lot of people, I guess even myself, have been kind of dumping on Tecumsehs. And while yes, they were kind of temperamental, they were, it is a engine / company that is no longer around. The motors themselves were fairly decent. It's just the carburetors were not. I mean, this is one of the very few last couple motors that actually display the horsepower on it rather than the gross amount of torque. Because, not to get too detailed in there, but I'm just gonna blow this out. The same thing, tiny little holes on the side. May even blow it out in there. It looks pretty clean now. Anyway, so when you read a lawnmower, let's say it says 7 1/4. If that isn't, at least on newer ones, horsepower, if you actually read it, it says gross amount of torque. That can be misleading. So, a lawnmower runs at 3,600 RPMs. Most things do. Pressure washers, some of them will run lower. Basically anything with this type of engine on it really will all run that type of RPM, riding lawnmowers, all that stuff. But to calculate horsepower, you take your gross amount of torque, multiply it by your RPM. Where's my screwdriver? Oh. And then divide it by 5252. So for instance, if you were to go to like a one that says 7 1/4 or even 7, I'll just do 7 foot-pounds of torque, you know, you assume it's a fairly large little engine, but if you actually were to calculate it out, it would only go to like 5 horsepower. This actually is 6.5. So if this was reworked the other way, you'd probably say somewhere closer to 8. So, a little lesson. I'm not going to put that plug in, it's kind of, I pretty much mangled it. Okay, so let's put it back on the ground, see if it will start. Let me put all this stuff away. I'm going to put you guys down, and I'll be right back. Okay, so, it's been a couple days. I didn't have the right brake cable, or the right filter, and I didn't want to run it because the cable that's in there was constantly pressing on the self-propel, and since it's rear-wheel drive, I didn't want to start it up in the garage. So I waited a couple days, got the new cable on there, works good. So now we're able to see if it fires. Hopefully, I'm pretty confident it will, but I guess we're going to find out together. Everything's been cleaned off to make it a little easier to work on. It's been about 5 or 6 days, so everything should be well settled in. So if it starts, it'll probably continue to start like this for the rest of its lifetime, assuming you take care of it. There we go, a couple primes. Okay, there you have it. Looks like it's good to go. Replace the wheel on it as well. It's kind of broken. I have extras. So now I'm going to go ahead and put this on the internet, consider it good to go, and see what we get. Have any likes, questions, comments, concerns, anything, leave them below. If not, then keep on watching and subscribing, and I will be seeing you guys later. Bye.